It's just hard, like, and we don't get enough representation, and we don't get enough credit, and we always get the short end of the stick, and we're always the butt of the jokes, and it's actually really terrible.
I got a lot from it in the sense that the masses of the African American students got to bond and do something together as a whole and show the rest of the school something from our heritage, but I don't feel like the rest of the school got as much from it as we did.
I thought that it was more of a community experience because, you know, the freshmen and the underclassmen, they don't really know you all too well until they come, and it's kind of like Tech Week, except we don't have to do it as long as the drama kids, but it's like you spending 8 hours of your time in close quarters, like behind curtains and like telling people to shut up. Like, it's just like a bonding experience. So you get to actually know your mentees and your mentors.
Last year in the USB Assembly, I actually got to be Harriet Tubman, which was a huge honor to portray such a strong, powerful woman in history. And through that experience, I got to connect to my African roots and basically work with other talented students at the school, and it was a very exciting process.
I think USB is trying to display through each of their assemblies that Black people are very prominent in what we do in American culture and our influences and how we affect what happens here in history.
I think it's began because students didn't see themselves in our school, like in the curriculum or even just being visible in school. So I think the program started so that we can be visible and show the student body our accomplishments.
Here we try to do something different to recognize the accomplishments of African Americans, plus not having an assembly this year. We are revisiting our purpose because so many times African Americans are confined to a stereotype, and of course you have many African American musicians and we've made great contributions to music and the arts, but when you examine African American history as a whole, there's so many other contributions that sometimes get overshadowed by those. So we didn't do a performance this year because
frustration of limiting ourselves to just 1 month and singing and dancing and trying to figure out a way to show there's more to us in our culture than just singing and dancing and being happy, and actually having a message. And we were very frustrated last year when we had more of a message in the program and it wasn't well received, and trying to figure out what to do next, especially in a school that is very limited as far as numbers of African American students. What's the best thing for not just the African American students but the whole school body in general?
I don't think there is in general, because in school it's really just a topic that's brushed over. Like, even though it is a part of American history, a big part, I just don't think there's enough actual importance put on it. I mean, yes, there are announcements that people don't really listen to about, like, a random Black history fact of the day or the month or the week. I feel like there should be a more extensive effort to try and get Black history in school and to try and teach it to people who need to learn or who would benefit from learning more about the culture.
Not this year. There wasn't even really much to do with it, which I kind of felt was not right at all.
This year I didn't feel like there was as much. Obviously we didn't have a Black History Month assembly. You know, I'm not always able to hear the announcements, so I'm not sure what was going on this year as far as the announcements were concerned. You know, I know it's a big issue is, should Black History be celebrated just 1 month? Should it be celebrated throughout the year? And it's hard for me, since I'm in the counseling office, I don't see what's going on in all the classrooms. But I think because contributions of African Americans from a historical perspective have been overlooked, it's always good to do what we can as a school to celebrate the accomplishments of African Americans. So I think it's good to have as much of that as possible in a school.
Since I've been here, and it's going on 15 years, I don't think there's been a total of 5.
I don't think that it's good to have just one African American teacher because I'm not the representative for African Americans. And I think many students haven't had an African American, teacher throughout their high school career. So I think that we need more representation of diversity at this school. And I think it could only be positive if we did.
I would love to see that change because, again, you feel a lot of responsibility. I love y'all dearly, but it's very frustrating sometimes because I know that y'all need role models, and sometimes you again have to have a place where you can go and feel comfortable if you're having a bad day or there's something that happened and there was a racial connotation. You're trying to understand how to deal with that and surviving being a minority in this environment. So frustrated because, if I'm not here, Miss Williams isn't here, then, who do you go to or who can you talk to? But at the same time, for white students, what does it show them that they can go through this program and never have a black teacher? And if they do have a black teacher, sometimes they question that. Do they really know what they're talking about? So I feel like it does not just black students, but white students injustice too, because they aren't seeing representation of different minority groups in the faculty.
I think that they're afraid to come here, firstly, and a lot of them, they just feel like this school is for a certain kind of person and they wouldn't fit in, and there are people there who here that wouldn't want them here. I know from personal experience that I definitely felt like that my freshman year. I just didn't belong because I stuck out like a sore thumb all the time.
My friends who probably were capable of handling the workload and handling the cultural aspect of Maggie Walker didn't apply because they saw it as a white school. So I think the perception of Maggie Walker in the African American community is not at a level where many people feel comfortable with applying or attending this school. So I think that's why the percentage is so low. So these African American students who could handle the workload and who could be successful here don't feel comfortable applying.
We, as a culture, we don't think that we fit in here because everyone else is judging us and expects us to be a certain way here.
Yes, it does. I mean, as a country in general, and at this school, there's a huge lack of information of minorities and a complete lack of understanding. I mean, we claim that this school is the school where everyone is liberal and everyone is so much better. But I mean, no, there's just as many problems. It's just, I guess at this school it's more subtle. And that's, in some ways, it's worse because if it's subtle, people are less likely to look at it and try and correct it.
That's because we're the School of Government and International Studies. We're supposed to learn about everybody's culture, and if you don't even know the culture of the kid sitting next to you in math, how are you supposed to learn about somebody halfway across the world?
This needs to be done, and it needs to be broadcasted, not just for students at Maggie Walker, students everywhere who have to deal with being the minority, because sometimes we lose our voice and we don't have a voice, and other times we're expected to speak for the whole African American population, which I feel is completely not fair. But definitely being a student in a minority situation like Maggie Walker Governor School, this is a powerful topic, and I'm glad that this documentary is being done.
Definitely. And I feel like this video is a great way to address it because we're seniors and we're going to leave here, and this documentary is still going to be in the minds of other people, and it might get to them, and they might become more aware of it. I think that no one's aware of it or aware that we feel this way because we don't really announce it, and this is us announcing it. Hello.